Greetings and welcome back to my channel, World War II Books Where to Start. I'm your host, General Leslie Rose, here at the newly completed Pentagon, the house that I built, taking a break from my super secret project, which I think will win the war. I'm going to bring you my top 5 favorite books I read this year in World War II reading, the best of the best, and with one honorable mention. As always, due to my strict editorial standards here, I do not include any repeats, although I desperately wanted to this year. All right, so let's get on with it. I was making this in late November, and to date, I have read 52 books this year concerning World War II, with some capacity or format, fiction and nonfiction included. So, with that proviso, here we go. Number 5, he almost made a list. Very short one, just one. This would be Steel Hearts, Iron Boats by Hans Gobler from 1999, a memoir of the U-boat force. He was a very young man when he volunteered for the U-boats, and his trials and travails in that arm are really, really a hoot at times, and other times just wow, up front, close, shocking kind of stuff. His skipper ended up killing himself on a patrol. The only U-boat skipper to do that, and that's worth the admission right there. Recommended, but didn't quite make the list. So here's the real list. Number 5, Sink 'Em All by Charles Lockwood from 1951. Vice Admiral Lockwood became the commander of U.S. Submarines Pacific after the untimely death of his superior officer. Nimitz promoted him to that post, or maybe King did, and he did a superb job. And I avoided this before as thinking it wouldn't be very worthwhile being published so close after the war because he couldn't say anything about the ultra intelligence, but it turned out to be very, very good. And very commander and tactics focused, with all the high points in the submarine war that you probably know, but given from the command perspective he had and his relationship with King and Nimitz, very good, very worthwhile. Sink 'Em All, Charles Lockwood. Number 4, Admiral Bill Halsey and Naval Life by Thomas Alexander Hughes from 2016. I kind of did this one on spec, not expecting much because lives of American admirals have never really appealed to me as a reading topic for a biography before. But again, I was pleasantly surprised. This guy had a really deep, rich, and sometimes very troubling life, spent almost entirely within the confines of the U.S. Navy in one capacity or another, his father being a naval officer also. So it covers all the highs and lows and the expected Halsey stuff, the Typhoon, Lady Gulf. But I found the most interesting section was when he was in command of Southwest Pacific Forces at Guadalcanal and then up the Solomon's chain. Very good, very good biography. Highly recommended. The General and the Genius by James Konechka from 2015. This is a story about Leslie Groves, myself, and that crazy, demented scientist I am supervising, Oppenheimer, doing that super secret project. This is boiling down to just their command and subordinate relationship and how they got things done, managing a team of X number of scientists plus tens of thousands of workers spread all over the U.S. with a timetable that had to fluctuate because of the process of scientific discovery, formatting and forging ahead in a new field with no defined boundaries and no guarantee of success. Very good, highly recommended. Number 2, Leningrad by Anna Reid from 2011. The story of the siege of Leningrad primarily through the civilian eyes, what it was like inside the ring and surviving and mostly dying. She's upfront and brutal and detailed. She does not hold back with cannibalism or the other horrific crimes committed by Leningraders against Leningraders, with some dark, unintended humor here and there. Just horrific conditions that beggar the imagination kind of thing. The Germans are unfortunately just kind of a backdrop and pop up as needed. That's probably the downside to the book. They just appear as villains when villains are necessary. She's very critical and upfront about the Soviet regime and its failures during the Leningrad siege. So there's no protecting the Soviets from taking their fair share of opprobrium for being part of the process of the disaster of the siege of Leningrad. Uh, Again, very good. I knock off a star because I think she needed a little bit more structure and a little bit more dramatic presence there. But overall, very good. Leningrad, Anna Reed. And then number one this year, My Hitch in Hell by Lester Tenney from the year 2000. He wrote this one late in the day when he just kind of needed to exercise the demons, I think, and get the story of the Bataan Death March out there. He says in the preamble that he was prevented from writing about it by a paper he had signed when he demobbed from the army. I don't know whether that's true or not. The Bataan Death March has been known to some degree during the war, a tiny bit, and then after the war, it kind of blew up as publicly known through newspaper revelations. So I'm not sure about this not being able to write about it. I don't know. Aside from that small caveat, this is an excellent memoir about suffering and overcoming suffering, enduring suffering. This guy went through it all. If you've read anything about the Bataan Death March, or you haven't, with the surrender, the march itself, and then of course imprisonment, first in the Philippines, then a hell ship, and then working as a slave laborer in Japan, which I think some of that material is probably the best in the book, believe it or not. Every step of the way, it can't get worse. It does. It can't get worse. It does. And how you cope and survive, and how you scam the Japanese themselves to survive. When they don't want to feed you, all they want to do is beat you. So, and his coming to terms with the Japanese people after the war and letting go of any anger, hate, and frustration. But of course, he's stuck with the PTSD forever. But how he worked through that after the war and how he feels about it when he published it in 2000, really good stuff. That's a 5-star all the way, and is easily my number one for 2024. So there you have it, my top 5, with one almost made it for 2024. Hope you found one here you enjoy or are intrigued or have read. And until next time, I'm General Leslie Rose. I'm going to go out to the desert right now. We're going to blow some stuff up. It's going to be awesome. Until next time, happy reading.